Welcome to the National Museum of Industrial History's Meet the Manufacturing series. I'm Karen Mossinger, President and CEO of NMIH. Here at the museum, we seek to explore not only the past, but also the present and future of industry in America. The Lehigh Valley, with its rich history of industrial innovation, is home to more than 15,000 businesses contributing to a diverse manufacturing base. Join us monthly for an inside look at Manu Manufacturing with representatives from local companies and help us celebrate the people, machines, and ideas that transform our daily lives. Meet the Manufacturer is made possible through the generous support of our premier sponsor, Lehigh Valley Industrial Parks, and also our series sponsor, Lehigh Valley Economic Development Corporation. And with your support, you can help us to inspire this and future generations of inventors and innovators by texting the word industry to 44321. You'll receive a secure link to make your donation. Or you can visit our website at nmih.org. We look forward to seeing you at the museum soon. Enjoy the program. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you all for joining us. We are sitting down with Shelley McWilliams, President of Lehigh Valley Plastics, for our Meet the Manufacturers series. Lehigh Valley Plastics this year is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Shelley is celebrating her first as President of Lehigh Valley Plastics. Shelley, good evening, welcome. Thank you for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, great. We wanted to start with a few questions. Wanted to learn about you, your education, your career path. What brought you to Lehigh Valley Plastics?
So I actually grew up very close to manufacturing. My family on my mom's side owned a lumber supply company that did prefabricated construction components for housing developments and other large construction projects. So I spent the time growing up in the truss plants, watching everybody make these roof trusses and then seeing them be craned on the top of houses and seeing how it all came together. And I was just always fascinated, and it was always such a passion of mine that I wanted to be working for someone that made something. That being said, my first job out of my undergraduate degree from Bucknell University was working for a consulting company where I worked in IT consulting and helped people build the infrastructure for their businesses and made sure that we were, putting the right systems in place to really help those customers. After doing that for a number of years, I really wanted to get back into manufacturing. So I pursued an MBA focusing in operations and in B2B marketing in the industrial space. I did that at the University of Virginia, the Darden School of Business. After that, I went to work for Air Products, which is what brought me to the lovely Lehigh Valley. And I was there for a number of years working in their industrial gases business, in the on-site tonnage business, selling oxygen and nitrogen for industrial processes. So that was a really great experience and a great thing that it brought me to Lehigh Valley because I absolutely love it here. It's been a great journey, and I'm really excited to be here at Lehigh Valley Plastics, where we are making plastic components for all kinds of applications, and actually Air Products is one of our customers now, so it all comes full circle. So I'm, I've spent a lot of time working in a lot of different businesses, both nationally and internationally. And what I really like about Lehigh Valley Plastics is that there's so many different industries that we are involved in here, and so many different places to sell all these products. It's a really fantastic business located right here in Bethlehem.
Well, it's great to have you here in Bethlehem, and glad to see you're making things, manufacturing yourself. Wanted to ask about the background for Lehigh Valley Plastics. Can you tell us about the company's history, how it was founded?
Absolutely. So Lehigh Valley Plastics was, as you mentioned, founded 50 years ago. This is our 50th anniversary, which is really exciting. The company was founded by Fred and Esther Ressler, and they started off just selling plastic sheets in a wholesale environment where they're just selling sheets to places like Lehigh Valley Plastics. They quickly realized that there was a lot more to gain in value add. So they rented a space and bought a used saw And the beginnings of our machine shop here were born. They started cutting parts to size and really bringing more than just a sheet of plastic to their customers. Over time, they added a lot more equipment, a lot more buildings. At one point in time in 1999, they were operating out of 4 different buildings in Allentown with tons of different equipment, saws, CNCs, just all kinds of different things. Then when it got to 2005, it became clear that for LVP to reach its full potential, it really needed some capital to grow. So they decided to sell the business to a private equity company who further invested here in what we do. And it's been a fantastic growth opportunity for Lehigh Valley Plastics. We invested in a lot more machinery and also consolidated into one building. So instead of operating out of the 4 different facilities, everything's consolidated into this building here in Bethlehem. And it really brings a lot of efficiencies to the process and allows us to get a lot better product from a quality perspective out the door, since we can check it kind of every spot along the way. And so that's been a great addition.
We understand the building, it's a new state-of-the-art facility, 55,000 square feet. Can you tell us more about the building and some of the features?
Absolutely. So we have, it's a 55,000 square foot building. The majority of it, 49,000 square feet, is manufacturing space. There are 33 different CNC and turning centers here in the building. We have a bunch of different equipment that all goes into making products for our customers. So one of the cool things that we have here are we have huge CNC routers, and we have 6 of them. And what they are huge tables that have the router capability, so we can actually cut finished parts out of sheets of plastic at high volume at full sheet yield. So most of the time what you'll see is a customer that's doing this will use a milling machine. So they'll take the big plastic, cut it down to smaller pieces, put it on a horizontal mill or a vertical mill, and then machine it from there. We have all that capability here too, but in some cases, using these CNC routers, we have the ability to go straight from that big sheet down to the finished product, which is a huge value add cost savings for our customers to be able to leverage that technology. As I mentioned before, we have a bunch of vertical and horizontal mills. We have some live turning centers here with 4th axis capability. And what that does is allows us to make super complex parts with all kinds of different geometries to them on one machine. Whereas before we would have to maybe take it to the saw to cut down to size and take it to a horizontal mill to make sure that, we were doing certain attributes of the part, and then move it to another machine to finish the other parts. We can do it all in one machine, which is just fantastic and really allows us to meet the high tolerance requirements of our customers.
Well, with the 49,000 square feet of manufacturing space, with 33 CNC machines, a number of other bells and whistles, you must have a very diverse, very interesting workforce. Can you tell us more about the people employed at the site of Lehigh Valley Plastics, what type of jobs there are?
Absolutely. Currently, we have 92 people employed here. That's not enough. We're trying to get up to about 104 right now. So we're actively hiring for all kinds of positions, including machinists, operators, quality inspectors, shipping, receiving, all kinds of different areas there. This is our headquarters. So we have a ton of different capabilities here. We have a large quality department. We have a really robust fab and finishing section where people are taking the different components and assembling them into finished products for our customers. I don't know if you've ever been somewhere where you've seen 2 pieces of clear plastic kind of glued together and it's kind of rough and uneven. Our finishing department here makes those seams look absolutely beautiful. Like you wouldn't even be able to tell they were 2 different pieces unless you were looking at them. So we have people who specialize in those areas. We obviously have highly skilled machinists here that are working on some very intricate, very complex parts. We have an engineering department that is programming all of the CNCs here to make sure that we are really going after efficient ways to manufacture these parts and meeting the repeatability requirements of our customers. So it's the same quality every single part that goes out the door. We obviously have shippings and logistics specialists to get those parts shipped out all over the world. We have a small finance department here. Purchasing is a huge component of what we do. So, we have everything that goes along with supply chain here, as well as inside sales. We have outside salespeople stationed in various parts of the country as well.
So I have to ask, if you are, as you build towards a stronger team, someone's looking for some of those openings, where would they go?
So you can either go to our website at Lehigh Valley Plastics. All those job postings are also up on LinkedIn, as well as any of the major career search sites. They are all up there. Or you can always just, we have tons of people who just like to stop by and let us know that they're available for work as well.
Well, I like hearing how you're engaging that current generation of manufacturers. But let me turn now to the next generation of manufacturers. And I wanted to ask, how important is it to engage that next generation in manufacturing to ensure that workforce pipeline?
It is incredibly important. We have all heard, and probably most of the people watching this are in the same world, about the lack of the next generation of employees wanting to work in this space. And I think it is our job and our responsibility to reach out to people and let them know what it really is. I find it absolutely fascinating that you can take this hunk of plastic and turn it into this component that goes into a bioreactor that's making vaccines. It's just fascinating to me. And the level of skill and expertise that has to go into making those parts is just fascinating. So we look to things like engagement with the different trade schools. We have actually 2 folks joining us next week for co-op positions. We've participated in What's So Cool About Manufacturing to help introduce what some of these opportunities are to kids in middle school for that particular program. It's so important to really make people understand what this business is, what the careers available to them are. We have people here who started off as, beginning machinists coming in the door without any experience, who are now managers and floor managers. So there's a lot of career opportunity when you go down these paths. And I think it's just really important that we talk about it as much as we can and bring kids in as much as we can.
Well, you yourself grew up admiring the makers, and here you are now at the helm of Lehigh Valley Plastics. What advice might you have for a young person considering getting into manufacturing as a career?
Get out and see it. So as much as you can, I know the museum has a wonderful introduction for people to different aspects of manufacturing. Also a lot of places are more than happy to host a school group or even individuals and give you a tour and take you around and show you what's out there. Take advantage of all those opportunities and really get to see what kinds of environments you might want to work in more than others. Every machine shop or manufacturing facility that I've ever been in has a different personality. And it is so awesome when you find that place that really fits your personality and really helps you grow and bring out the most in you. I know they say work is not work if you like what you're doing. And it's so true. You like the place where you are and you feel encouraged. It's a wonderful experience. So I think the more places you can get out and see, and the more types of shops are going to help you make a good decision for your career and where you want to go.
That's great advice. It's and definitely want to echo that comment. Get out and see it firsthand, whether it's the museum, whether it's a factory floor like yours and your peers around the Lehigh Valley. And speaking of the Lehigh Valley, I wanted to acknowledge, you mentioned the What's So Cool About Manufacturing program. We know that Lehigh Valley Plastics has been a very active community partner throughout the Lehigh Valley. So can you tell us about some of your participation in community involvement here in the region?
Absolutely. So we have been involved in What's So Cool About Manufacturing for a while. That is a program that we find very rewarding for our team here, as well as for the students who are involved. It's great when you get some middle schoolers to come in here and start asking questions and really digging in and seeing things from a different perspective. We learn from it as much as they learn from it, what we do. In some cases, that's good things, and in some cases, it's things we need to work on. But it's all really a rewarding opportunity. This year was a little bit different because the students weren't allowed to come on site here, but I think they did a fabulous job given the challenges in front of them. We were able to get them some footage, and they were able to still interview some of the machinists and the folks here to really get a sense of what Lehigh Valley Plastics was like. As far as other community involvement is concerned, we every year nominate a charity that we do a bunch of events to raise money for. That we have a bowling tournament and a golf tournament where we involve different aspects of the community there. And then we do fundraisers throughout the year, including basket raffles and all those sorts of things to raise money for those charities. We obviously weren't able to participate in most of those fundraising activities last year. So we're carrying forward our charity this year, and it is the the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is the one that we're doing this year. Last year it was the Pocono Greyhound Rescue, and so there's a lot of different ways that we give back to the community through those charities.
Excellent. If there's an avenue to find out more about Lehigh Valley Plastics work throughout the community, is there a place viewers can go and look into what you're working on?
We have some of that up on our website. We do promote all that stuff through social channels more regularly than we do through our static website. So that's probably the better place to look.
Sounds
LinkedIn
good.
is a good one.
Perfect. Well, let me come back. You mentioned Air Products as one of your customers. Are you able to tell us a little bit more about your products and services and some of the other industries you serve, whether here at home or elsewhere around the world?
Absolutely. So we service a number of different industries. Our biggest by far is heavy construction equipment. And for that industry, we sell a ton of parts that look like this, that are plasticware components that basically keep the different pieces of metal from rubbing against each other. You think about a telehandler that has that big telescope. It needs parts that can slide against each other. And so this is a huge part of our business right here. For cranes, we sell a lot of shivs, which are metal replacement parts. These are wheels that have the guides that the different cables go through to operate the cranes and such. These we can do from 2 inches all the way up to 35 inches for our customers. It's amazing how big and robust those parts can be. That's the majority. Now we do a ton, of other industries as well. ABAC right down the street, we sell components to them for their bioreactor systems. Fresh Pet is right down the street. We sell components to them as well for their manufacturing processes. But a lot in medical, a lot in transportation and aerospace. The train companies are really getting heavily into plastic replacements for metals in order to get more fuel efficiency and more wear out of their parts for the long runs. They have less downtime for maintenance. And then we do a lot in food and beverage as well, which has taken off in the pandemic. Our canning companies that were kind of stagnant for a while, we're just seeing grow leaps and bounds for all that different equipment. And so that demand's translating to what they're asking of us, and some different configurations and different parts that we haven't seen before as they're trying to adapt older machinery to be reused for some of the newer applications as well.
Well, I love it. The pets and the pantries from every day at home to outer space. It seems like Lehigh Valley Plastics is indeed everywhere, and certainly some innovations to be proud of. Can you tell us some of the things that makes Lehigh Valley Plastics unique?
I think one of the big things, and I know it sounds a little bit cliche probably, is, we really do focus on our customers. And in that, we know the value of our employees into serving our customers. So that is truly our area of focus. And that kind of reverberates through everything. It reverberates through the different equipment choices that we make, and what we're buying for our next generation, replacement machines here in the building, into how we treat our employees, the trainings that we offer, and then also working with our customers to solve their problems. There's been so many times that, even since I've been here in the past year, that a customer has been doing something one way for a really long time, one of our engineers takes a look at it and it's like, wait, if we just like change this feature on the part or use this other material that's just as good, you're going to get this much more performance out of it, or we're going to be able to cut down operation and save you 5% on your part, or whatever that might be. And that focus on the customer and really trying to make their part better and their end product better for their customers is really important. We also have a complete dedication to quality. So everybody here takes pride in making sure that their parts are correct, and going out the door exactly how they're expected by our customers. And that goes through every operator and machinist on the plant floor, doing their measurements at their machine, our quality department, making sure that everything's correct. It goes through everything we do in order to satisfy and make sure that those customers are getting exactly what they expect.
Well, sounds very good. And can you talk about any of the innovations that might be, key to the company's recent successes?
Honestly, a lot of our innovation is more in how we can make the parts and solve our customer problems. We really work through any sort of problems that we're seeing. So a lot of times with plastics, it's very different than metal. So if you're taking a metal part and you're converting it to plastic, the design might need to change for a number of reasons. One of those being, when you grip metal, it doesn't move. When you put plastic into a vise on a machine, you're compressing that. So as you're machining down that piece of material and getting closer to where that vise is holding the material, you're going to get a different outcome on that part than you did at another spot. So working through those challenges and really understanding plastics and getting the parts right for our customers is where we can really innovate and help them out.
That's excellent. One final question for me, but I wanted to ask, what are some industry trends you are seeing, or maybe some future innovations we can expect to see from Lehigh Valley Plastics going forward?
So across the board, and this has been for a number of years, there's been a transition from metals to plastics for environmental concerns, which sounds completely counterintuitive because nobody thinks that plastics are good for the environment, but these are durable plastics. Okay, these are things that last, for a very long time in their applications. It's not a water bottle that's a single use. So what folks are doing is they're looking at their designs on their equipment. They're looking for ways to save weight on those so that the pieces of equipment can be more energy efficient in how they run. So what we're seeing a lot of is movements towards plastics in order to be more environmentally conscious in the long run. So it's saving gasoline, or as we move to electric vehicles, it's reducing that weight so the electric vehicles can be more efficient and can get that long battery life that we all need in order for those to be successful. So that will be continuing, ongoing, as for the foreseeable future. I mentioned the environmental impact. The ways that we've been recycling plastics, especially the engineered plastics that we're using here, has been phenomenal. We've worked in ways to recycle most of the materials that are coming in here now, where you can buy materials now that have percentages of recycled products mixed in intentionally, so you know exactly what the footprint is of recycled materials versus virgin plastics that's going to what you're purchasing, which is a huge trend in the marketplace on both a B2B level and a B2C level.
Well, excellent. It's been a pleasure hearing from you, hearing about Lehigh Valley Plastics, both what it's done in the past and what it looks to do in the future. We again want to appreciate you for your time and attention. I want to turn now to Megan Pildes, our Vice President for Development here at the museum, for some questions from the community. Megan, let's turn to you.
Hi, Shelley. Nice to meet you. So I have some questions sent in from our members and viewers. How do you service the transportation industry specifically? What products? I know our audience is very into railroads, so I imagine that's where their interest lies in this question.
Yeah. So we do a lot of parts for the transportation industry, a lot for aerospace, for airplanes and such, but we also do a lot for rail. So components that are usually in the rail world, tend to be some of those wear pads that we talked about, where there are parts where you want to make sure that you have sliding capability on the plastic to make sure it's moving appropriately, where the different rail cars connect. There's a lot of parts that go into there. There's also a lot of plastics on the interiors of locomotives. So when you think about your control panel, all the different ways that those things are connected together, and the pedestals that hold up the different pieces of equipment, most of that is made out of engineered plastics, what we make here. I think there's, transportation is something, and especially in rail, where it's been a little bit slower moving towards conversions to plastics, because part of it is the history of rail travel, right? It's these big steel locomotives, and they're huge. And I don't think that people have fully adopted plastics to be as strong as metals in a lot of applications, and that their wear properties are more amenable to those applications than metals. Like that you can avoid oils, that you can avoid some of those other things that can cause problems and can cause maintenance headaches when it comes to maintaining some of these big metal locomotives and such. So I think there's a lot of future there, future room for development.
Excellent, thank you. What percentage of your machinery at your facility was scratch built or custom made to your specifications?
Most of our equipment here is off the shelf, with some modifications more in how we hold material. We've spent a lot of time developing custom vacuum fixtures. That thing that I was talking to Ned about before, about how you have to hold the material a certain way and it distorts the plastics. We've custom developed a lot of vacuum fixturing, which actually sucks the part onto the vacuum fixture for machining. And that's kind of like a way that we've adopted just off the shelf equipment for our needs. We actually have a Amada bending machine out there that's used for sheet metal, that we have customized to be able to work to bend plastics. So those types of things we kind of do more ourselves than I would say we buy any sort of custom machinery. Buying custom machinery comes with its own complexities that we'd rather avoid from maintenance and those sorts of things. So we've really tried to use what we can get off the shelf and adopt it to what we need to better respond to plastics.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Can you tell us how COVID-19 pandemic has affected the company, and how you're faring now?
Yeah. So 2020, as with everybody, was a crazy year. The plastics industry in general had to do a massive pivot, right? From everything was based on kind of retail settings and making sure you had the plastic stand-ups and all those corrugated boards and banners for museums and trade shows and all that sort of stuff. Now that's not our area of focus, but that's where a lot of the plastics industry is. In our area, where we're doing components for manufacturing, everything shut down, right? So that dramatically affected us. We were able to pivot and provide some PPE, doing the plastic face shields. We made those here to try to get those dispersed out to places quicker, and some other things, but we really saw business decline. We made a commitment to try not to let go anybody, and we really tried to stick to that and really tried to work around what we had. And then when we saw in January, things start picking back up, and it is going gangbusters. As I talked about, a lot of our business is in heavy machinery, heavy equipment for construction, and it is just through the roof right now. Their order book is booked out through 2022 in a lot of cases, and we're making as many parts as we can, as fast as we can, trying to hire people in to try to meet this demand that's out there. So it's been a complete flip of the switch from off in November, December to fully on, as bright as it can get. Come February, it's been through the roof. So it's been a really interesting time, a lot of ups and downs, especially for me, coming into this business a year ago, kind of living through that change and seeing it go from kind of one extreme to the other, it's been a really crazy experience for sure. The business has done great. Our employees are just absolutely amazing here, how they've adapted and worked through all of this, with us as a team to really meet these demands, whether it's assembling face shields at home or, looking for some, other things to work on within the facility, like doing reorganization projects or machine maintenance and those sorts of things in order to kind of get through the slower times. So it's been a real team effort here, and I could not be more proud to work for a place that's been this resilient and been this adaptable to everything that's been thrown at us.
Excellent. Yeah, in the museum, the American industrial story is one of, time after time, all over our exhibits, these stories of, in times of great challenge, some of the greatest innovation comes. So I like that you're continuing that same story with Lehigh Valley Plastics. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you to our viewers and to our sponsors. Our premier sponsor is Lehigh Valley Industrial Park, and our series sponsor is Lehigh Valley Economic Development Corporation. If you enjoyed this program and other things that NMIH has to offer, please visit our website or text industry to 44321 to make a contribution. Thank you and have a good evening, everyone.
The true hallmark of any location is the people, those who choose to call it home. Lehigh Valley is the land of makers and dreamers. Hard work is our heritage, and it's that heritage that fuels us. Our traditions unite us. Our legacy is determination. Our future will be built on the principles of creativity and perseverance. Because when others said we couldn't, we did. Some may think of us as underdogs. Yeah? Well, never underestimate the underdog. Lehigh Valley has been and always will be home to those with great vision. We know the value of an honest day's work. We practically wrote the book on it. Out of the embers from the hands that forged a nation come those that are crafting the future. Now, if you'll excuse us, we've got work to do.